What's going on, people? We're back. It's the Team Netcode channel here for Sprint Car Nights. I'm Josh Gerlach. I'm here with Kade Higday, Blake Walker, here from the beautiful Cyclone State, boys. It's been a good week. Been a good week to be an Iowa State Cyclone. We'll roll with that. Not good for the rest of my sports teams, so I had to rub that in there a little bit. We're battling through a bunch of technical difficulties tonight, so if you see Blake frozen for half the stream or something like that, don't judge. But to help get us through that, you can like this video and you can subscribe. You can follow us everywhere at Team Netcode. Share this, do whatever you'd like. Leave us 5 stars on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts for those audio people that are listening out there. And then lastly, before we dive into this week's show, make sure you check out last week's video with Toby Belbowen from Sprint Car Hub. It's a really good, fun chat with him. Dove into a lot of different topics, and I believe he's back home now. So hopefully he had a good trip back down under after spending a lot of time here in the States. This is the Kade Higday episode. We've been teasing it for a while, and we are finally doing it. Before we dive into you, Mr. Higday, we do have some news to talk about. It was PRI last week, and there was some good stuff that came out of it. You were on the ground for the first time ever. First time out of us 3, I believe, that have made it out there. How was PRI?
It was honestly really overwhelming. Like I was talking to Blake before you popped back in here. There's just so much stuff that's not sprint car related. Like you walk through there and you're like, what the hell's that for? And it's for like a monster truck or a drag car or something. It's very cool. I was honestly surprised by how little sprint car stuff there was, but it was really cool to see everything else. And we got to talk to quite a few sprint car vendors, and yeah, it was definitely worth the weekend trip.
Kind of puts it in perspective, kind of what we talked about with Toby last week, how sprint car racing in the Grand Motorsports is still kind of that big.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool seeing all the pictures and stuff. We got to go out there. Maybe we should all 3 go out there next year. What do you think, Blake?
Yeah. Do a booth out there. I'm sure it cost a good chunk of money to do a booth out there.
Yeah. You were out there, though. We saw some pictures.
Yeah. Kade, also, you went to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Museum. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was sweet.
You did tell me they did have a dirt section.
Yeah, they did. They had the original, like all the uniform stuff and the trophy from the inaugural win that Cannon McIntosh had. They had his driver's suit and helmet and all that stuff. It was really cool.
That the president, or the man who owns it, obviously not Roger Penske, but the guy closest under Roger Penske, the name leaves me right now. But the best thing that they do is before the BC39, he shakes the hand of every single driver before the race starts on the grid while he's in a suit and tie. I've always thought that's the coolest thing in the world. Yeah, that's pretty cool. There were a lot of fun videos from PRI. I will say a lot of people did a really good job, getting out and about and getting videos done. I guess to roll right into the news, Josh, if you're okay with that, roll right into the news.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really, the first hour of PRI.
The opening bell was sounding, and we got big news.
The news came out. Giovanni Scelzi is going to pilot the Spire Motorsports. Yeah, that's Spire Motorsports. Number 77, sponsored by Chili's, as a full-time high-limit driver in 2026. Eric Prutzman is going to be the crew chief, obviously one of Brad Sweet's former things. First of all, probably one of the cooler paint schemes I've ever seen. Like, this is, if you have not seen it, Carson Hocevar's run pretty much this scheme, if you will, in NASCAR. He ran it at the Gateway Nationals. But, man, to have a restaurant as big as Chili's, like, we've had Buffalo Wild Wings, obviously, with Mark Dobmeyer, but to have Chili's on a sprint car, I mean, that's pretty cool, man. I'm a big Triple Dipper fan as well.
You're not the only one in the sprint car world. I saw plenty of Triple Dipper references on the Twitter over the weekend, so that was pretty cool. And I know that there is a lot of chatter around it. It was taking so long, whatnot. Wouldn't surprise me if this was being held onto for a stage like that to be able to drop that big news. And there was some cool, like you were mentioning, some cool content that came out from PRI where they were talking to, and his name slips my mind, but the guy that was representing Spire out there with Gio and talking about how they're dirt racers and they're in this for the long haul, which was cool to hear. And it's a great pairing. You got hot sauce with the Chili's car. So
It's perfect.
with Eric Prutzman, I look out for Gio. The comeback tour full season is definitely on next year, Cade.
Yeah, for sure. And like Blake said, with a big sponsor like Chili's, that's super cool. And I'm confused why Blake was so surprised that it was like the first hour that they were at PRI. I mean, you have to do that because there's so many damn phones in that building that it'd be everywhere before they could even say it themselves.
I will say, I mean, just going back to the sponsor thing, they're going to sell so much merchandise. Like it is just going to be, I mean, I'm going to have to get one. It's even if, yeah, you got to like Chili's, but that's just such a cool thing. And you see big sponsors, but not really recognizable sponsors like that. Like I feel like sprint car racing is still not to the point where NASCAR would have like M&Ms and they'd have Budweiser. And yes, Casey Kane did run Budweiser a couple times when he was in sprint car, but it's just really cool. It's an awesome platform. I hope Chili's enjoys being a part of the dirt racing community. It's awesome. It is such a cool thing to see. And the car looks great, and I'm happy for Gio.
It does. Getting big corporate sponsors like that involved is big, and it is needed, especially when you look at the kind of the business model that High Limit's going with. Yeah. Money has to come from somewhere. So getting
open the door for more.
It very well could. You know, that's a big exposure. I actually didn't have it on this list here, but I think we were talking about it last week with Toby also. But the Flow deal with getting some of the Flow racing content
Lucas
on
Oil
Amazon
is now
Prime.
Officially a Flow series as well.
Yep.
Which is just crazy.
Flow is making moves right now, and yeah, it's interesting to watch.
It's not on here, but I just wanted to talk about it for a quick second. Lucas Oil Dirt Series is going away from the playoff format, and they're going back to full season points. So that means there are some guys that are going to benefit so heavily from this. I mean, there's just it's the matter of it is. Maybe this means
good
NASCAR
sign.
will. Yeah,
good
maybe
sign.
this means NASCAR will follow suit. I sure hope so. Now that the lawsuit's over, but it's awesome. I mean, we had that whole Final Four thing. You go to Eldora. You know, I don't know. It was cool, but NASCAR did it, and then you're like, dirt racing's doing it. Why is dirt racing doing it? And yeah, I'm happy that Lucas Oil made the change, and now they're back to full points.
I think you're opening us up for a tangent here, because this wasn't definitely not on the talking points here. But yes, hard agree that winner take all, or blast 2, 3, 4 races, sprint car racing, dirt racing in general, it does not make sense. Let alone in NASCAR. Also, I have a feeling, Cade, you probably agree with that we don't need that in the sport.
Yeah, there's way too much that can happen in a dirt race. I mean, not even just like the part failures or any mechanical issues.
It's too short.
But just dumb stuff happening on the racetrack. There's way too much.
Yeah.
Yep. And as we were just talking about, as the more money that comes into it, you're gambling, in a sense, with putting all the chips, no pun intended, for High Limit, like it all in, one weekend or one night potentially. And I like that move by, I don't even know what Flow is.
I think it kind of it went toe in toe, like Flow takes over fully, and then the president's up there announcing it, and I don't think people expected it though, but that's one of those things. Cody's gonna be watching.
We had to throw that.
Yeah.
Speaking for all of us.
Yeah, are we gonna get Chili's commercials now on the?
See,
boy, if High Limit, I mean,
start passing out some apps before the races or something.
Outlaws might have to respond with like Applebee's or something. I don't know. Is Donnie Schatz going to drive an Applebee's car next year? That would be crazy.
Speak it into existence, Blake. Manifest. Let's manifest it.
More High Limit news. Mercedes Motorsports number 42, Cy Lynch, is officially back. Congratulations to Cy. Yep, there we go. Got it on. We had talked about Cy a couple weeks ago with Brian Walker, so a little bit more thoughts into that, but I'm happy for Cy. He got really good, or he was starting to get better as the season went on. It's one of those guys that you probably bet didn't want the season to end in a way and just go right on to Volusia and gets things sorted out, but happy for him. I think that's really cool.
Gio keeps wanting to pop up there. Yeah.
You are struggling.
I know, right? Technical difficulties, Cade. We talked about this. No, he had Cy and that entire 42 team really got it rolling there towards the end of the year. So I think that for them, it'd be cool if they can keep that rolling and parlay it into maybe getting some wins with High high limit this year. It's going to be tough, especially with the roster that they're bringing back, and we'll see how it goes. But good to see guys like that and teams like that stay on the road, because it's easy to go out, get your feet wet, and maybe get your ass kicked a little bit, and then be like, well, that was fun. But continuing and being able to get the backing and have the backing to stay on the road like that is big. We need that in the sport.
Yeah, really cool. Skylar G is out at Logan Fenton Racing. That 99 car, we don't really know who's going to fill it. Skylar was part of the Outlaw Tour, struggled at times, showed flashes at times. As on the tour that long, usually it pops up, but just unfortunate. I'll be very curious what happens whatever comes out of that car. It's another opening. I don't know. You never know what's going to happen, but it's a tough loss. Kate Higday is going to go drive the 99 car.
I'd do it.
Pack Rat Dumpsters. I obviously know Skylar's sponsorship so well, because he was the car that I was saying when I dropped the F-bomb. But
heck yeah. Where's he from?
He's from Leduc, Alberta, Canada.
Heck yeah, nailed it.
I'll never forget it. I will never forget it. Unfortunately, when I saw this news, the first thing I thought, I was like, damn, Luke, Alberta, Canada lost a good one.
Frick.
Jeez. Ridiculous.
Yeah. The results probably weren't there that they were looking for, and is what it is, part of racing. I'm curious to see where he does land, because I think he can wheel a sprint car. It's just tough being out on, like we've talked about, it's tough being out on the road, and if you're not getting the results that are expected, things like this are going to happen.
This was great. I love this news. The big wheel, Scotty Thiel, is going with the Outlaws. He's teamed up with Greg Wheeler Motorsports for a rookie run here with the Outlaws. The team won the IRA Rookie of the Year honors with Aussie Max Gilliford in 2025. He's currently one of just 2 Rookie of the Year contenders. Ashton Torgerson is the other. If I had to put betting odds, I'm sure Ashton will be the favorite. But I like it. We talk about the IRA a lot, as we should, because the IRA is a very reputable series, and they're getting bigger, and I think they're getting better every single year. Their schedule just came out, too. It looks really fun. It looks like a lot of great tracks on that schedule. I'd love to see Kade run a race, maybe.
We got called out. We got to go to Jackson. Lauren Kelly was calling us out, saying that we better be up at Jackson.
All right. Well, then I guess we got to go to Jackson. But I think it's awesome. We've already seen a 10-time IRA champion cut his teeth at the Outlaws and become a winner. So I love this for Scotty Thiel.
Yeah, for sure. You hit the nail on the head with the IRA guys getting the shots they deserve. That series produces really good racing, and I feel like we're going to see another Baylog here just go out and start kicking people's ass. Yeah,
would love to see that. Put some respect on the IRA's name.
Long live the IRA. Yeah,
that's right. It'll be cool to see what they can do.
Anthony Macri was in the news scenes. At first when I saw this, I forgot that he had done he's the pick and choose schedule. That's the main news. He's becoming a pick and choose driver once again. I like it. Could he win and be top 5 on a touring schedule? Yes, he could, but I think this is good for him. I thought you were putting in the news. I hadn't read this part. I saw today he was asking he wanted a tire specialist on his team. Yeah. I'm like, wow, we're talking about, hey, Anthony Macri
Motorsports is hiring.
Put tire specialist. You want to go live
if you want to advertise, just send it to us. No.
I'm not really surprised by this Anthony Macri news, but no. My goodness, man. Kings Royal winner. There's still a lot in front of him, but he's got it made. He's just going to be unbelievable.
It's a lucrative way, I think, to also build towards maybe getting to that national tour. I think they probably could do it as it is right now. But with the new PA Posse Sprint Car Series that's going to be out there, I'm sure he's going to be running a lot of those and continue doing what he's been doing. It's worked really well for him. He picked up a Kings Royal Championship this year, so the whole get off the porch thing doesn't really work for him anymore. But yeah, it would be cool if they're kind of taking these steps towards getting out on the road. I can't think of how old he is off the top of my head. I'm sure he's in his 20s or low 30s. So he's, hopefully got a long runway ahead of him career wise. And I'd like to see him on a tour eventually, just to see, selfishly what he could do running against the best of the best every night. But I think it's going to work out well for him.
I think this is big for that Pennsylvania series. he wouldn't have been able to race that Pennsylvania series if he committed to
Right.
high limit or outlaws. So I think that's another thing. Like, he's going to probably run for this Pennsylvania series that's going to go. So I
It's
like
interesting
it.
because they get the 3 drop races too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
be able to probably use those for some
And-
of the bigger events.
We saw him out west. I mean, he was running somebody else's car out at Tulare and trying to try a couple things. So I like it. I mean,
Yeah, agreed.
Kate, any final thoughts on Anthony?
He obviously makes enough money doing what he's doing. Why would you change it?
Really cool. All right, last piece of news that kind of came out of nowhere. And if you saw it and thought deja vu, then it was deja vu. The Sprint Car Council, National Sprint Car Council, is back, baby. And back like it never left because this has been tried before. It was pretty much announced this past week that there will be a National Sprint Car Council. They're going to expand on health/safety discussions. Really, just who makes up the council? Do we have the official list?
Yeah,
With us?
we do. It's Tom Devitt from the World Racing Group, Cody Cordell from the World of Outlaws ASCS, Mike Hess, High Limit Racing, Scott Gobrecht from Pennsylvania Sprint Cars, Tyler Ransbottom from USAC, John McCoy from Knoxville Raceway, Levi Jones from Eldora Speedway, and Scott Woodhouse from NARC are the current board members.
Good group. But
There is.
just one real quick, I'll throw in before we get our full opinions on this. I think Justin Fiedler was talking about it. Is more better at this point, do you guys think? Like, do you think there should be more people on this or should there be less people on this? I saw Brian Brown put a tweet out. Brian wants to be a part of it. He said, I'm an owner, I'm a driver. Like, you know, how many people do we need on this thing?
I'll let you go first, Kate. You're an owner and driver.
I don't know if more is better, but I definitely agree with Brian on the fact that an owner driver would be really cool to have on there because, I mean, they can look out for obviously the owner side of things where things are going to cost way too much money to put into effect, and then like the driver side of things that are more safety related and things like that. But I feel like you get too many hats in that ring, it's going to be kind of a shit show.
I'm with you there. Steve Sinclair was a name that was thrown out. I saw actually Tony Bachhoven had responded when we had posted about this. So that was a name that I had seen that was actually stated that people wished it was out there. I'm with you though, Cade, where sometimes less is more, but you also have to balance who exactly is on there because you can't have too many, or you don't want to have too many cooks in the kitchen on something, of this nature too. And I think it's a good balance. You have representation. Somebody also was in our comments kind of questioning why someone from NARC instead of, someone like Steve Sinclair. And you're kind of getting representation from across the country, from racetracks. And then also you have your national tour names as well, both wing and non-wing. So I think that it's actually a pretty good balance. I probably would have liked to have seen maybe a driver representative or two on there just to have that. Where do you land there, Blake?
I think I agree. I mean, nobody knows the full story from every single person's perspective, but at least if you add a driver/car owner, you have that perspective. Now you can go back and be like, well, back in the day, I owned whatever, but I don't know. It's so tough. Like you add one, like say they had Brian Brown. Okay. Then another driver owner is going to want to be a part of it. Like,
Right.
I don't know. It's just so tough. My computer's being so slow that I can't pull it up on the other tab, but they already decided on like something this week and I cannot for the late. Yeah. Do you
About the
have
belts. Kate, you could probably expand on this the most out of us because it even directly impacts you as well. And I do see we have your brother-in-law Stu in here as well. I'm sure he has his own thoughts on this as well. But the all belts to seat advisory, can you expand on what was being discussed around seat belts and what that kind of notice was about, kind of pushing back on the all belts to seat setup?
Basically, what they were trying to do was mount the belts to the seat. That way, like if you're on a chasm system or a monkey bar system, when the seat does its thing in a crash, the belts can't ever come loose. I don't personally know what the huge hang up with that was. I'm guessing it's probably the fact that it's not all that safe to mount your belts to a seat, but
Because explain the current setup, how you would kind of have things set up right now as far as your seat belts.
everything mounts to the roll cage and the A-frame around you. So it's all separate from the seat. So when the seat does move, your belts can come loose. So I think that's what they were trying to avoid with that. And then basically that would kind of like lead everybody into getting either a chasm or a monkey bar system. And obviously those are still in the works. I feel like there's still some improvement they have to do on those as far as like what happens in one of the longer crashes, which we always see at Knoxville. They're almost catastrophic all the time, and shit just goes flying everywhere. Yeah, I'm guessing the only reason they didn't do that is because of the fact that mounting the belts to the seat itself is probably not that safe.
Yeah, I'm no expert or, adjective insert there, but doesn't seem like it would be the safest. And I can see where people might be arguing about that because this is something that just came to my head here that wasn't written down for us. But Chase Johnson put out a very good video over the weekend or last week, really diving into his injury and his incident and his injury. And I think that was a situation where the seat bent and the belt's kind of undone or like came loose a little bit. So I don't know if it's like looking at situations like that where you wouldn't have your belts coming loose or anything, but I don't know. Flea Ruzick, he commented on that. He's a great follow on X. So it's actually one that I'd like to get on here sometime to talk about safety in general, because I think that this will probably be one of our longer topics before we dive into you there, Kade. But I think that this is an overall great thing that it's now more public, because I think even on Dirt Tracker, he was talking about how we've kind of had one of these things before. Or
Yeah, we did.
it's kind of shady
It just
about.
kind of fell apart.
Yeah,
Fell
and
apart.
so
We didn't know anything about it.
yeah, you've got the biggest of the big players, and maybe they were involved before, but we have something that is public out there that everybody that's at the top echelon of sprint car racing is involved, which is great. And I just hope that we see more things like the notice about the belts and things like that, and keep pushing for safety.
And it's not like this is like they publish something. It's like, all right, this will happen now. Like it's just kind of it's an analyzation of what's happening, or if there's a rule, or if there's something. So like, yeah, they put this out about the belts, but that doesn't, you can choose to ignore it.
It's a good point. And also at the same time, a lot of those parties are working together already. Like we already know that like Knoxville works with the Outlaws around scheduling and things like that. Other tracks are doing the same thing. Same with rule changes. I can't think, just a year or two ago, there was kind of a larger rule change that went into effect, and we had heard that Knoxville was, kind of working with the Outlaws and
fire bottles, maybe
I think it was the fire bottles. Yeah. Kind of getting a standardized thing there. So, here's one of our first, it kind of parlays into this a little bit. Brad Shearer, your neighbor, Kade, talking about some rules here. What is a rule that you would like to see implemented in regards to driver safety?
I don't know about implemented. Obviously, like we have the like head and neck restraints are mandatory. That's a great addition, I think. The only thing I don't super agree with is the new tail tank rule. The only reason being, the way Knoxville is designed, we have the catch fence on top of the guardrail, and at the top of that, all the chain link, I guess you could call it. I don't know exactly what it is.
The stuff that bends over.
Yeah, it goes out towards the racetrack, so nothing goes flying in the grandstands.
Yep.
We had some really deep discussions about this at the drivers' meeting before the Knoxville banquet. But the biggest fear of a tail tank falling off is somebody else hitting it, and then there's fuel everywhere. Or it lands in Casey's parking lot, which has happened before. But if you look at some of the recent crashes at Knoxville, if that tank would have fallen off, that would have been night and day different. Like, you look at Macedo's crash, he wouldn't have been on fire. Look at Randall's crash, he wouldn't have been on fire. It would have been on fire at the top of the racetrack. But obviously we got to follow the rules, and we all will, or we'll get DQ'd. But as far as like personal driver safety, I don't know how much I agree with that one, but they made a very valid point that if somebody hits that thing, it's going to be a big deal.
The fuel tank thing is a big. I have a lot of thoughts on it. I'm curious to hear yours too, Blake. Like, to me, the answer, like, you got completely valid points. Like, why would, as a driver, why would you want something that is on fire, right behind you, to be there? Like, I wouldn't. But we also can't have shit flying off the race cars, like, at all. Like, it's not great to have parts flying off of the race cars, especially something that's hundreds of pounds, flammable, and might be on fire at the same time. So, to me, and I maybe I'm just not looking in the right places, and I'm just might be ignorant here. I don't see enough discussion about making not necessarily the tanks, because I know they're fairly thin shells, but the bladders, like, more puncture resistant or tear resistant. I did see that Sean Wood, who, speaking of Flea Ruzick, Sean Wood is also a big innovator. He posted something on his X over the weekend that is like did you see that, Kade? Do you maybe be able to explain it a little bit better than me, but is a step in the right direction with fire safety with respect to the tail tanks. And it's just like, in many regards, sprint cars haven't really changed at all over decades. And to me, it seems like that's something that somebody kind of has to be innovating on, for the bladders, the connectors and stuff in there. Like, letting things fly off the car is not a real serious option to me.
Yeah, and that thing that Sean posted about, it's basically just a check valve that goes on your main supply line. So if it does get ripped off, which every time your tank flies off, that line gets ripped apart, that stops the fuel from flying out of the tank. So I feel like that should be mandatory.
Almost make that mandatory. Yeah.
That's huge, because then if it does fly off, you're not having fuel fly every which way it possibly could.
Yeah, it's basically like an open-ended hose that's just dumping it everywhere.
A big hose. It's not a garden hose. It's like 2 or 3 of them put together.
Yeah.
I think something's always being worked on behind the scenes. Like, this is not a problem that they're just like, oh well. But it does feel like one of those things that something might have to happen to, unfortunately, really push it along. Because it's also just, people can't agree, the tethers are a big part of that. Brad Doty's pushed that for a long time on social media. But yeah, it's just kind of one of those things where might have to happen. I don't know. And safety's always.
And I hate that. I hate that about.
I know
motorsports in general. It just seems like it's so reactive.
It sucks.
It's terrible.
It really sucks. The wall at Knoxville didn't get higher on its own. We had to have a car fly over the wall and be like, we should probably make it a little bit taller. Like, unfortunately, that's just how it goes. And yeah, I mean, we can hope that they keep working on it. I know the Sprint Car Council is going to be thinking about this and pushing it and trying to find the right answers. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. That's part of it. But the fireball.
What do we hope comes from it? What do we hope comes from something like this? What do you guys think?
I hope that if something happens in a race, whether it's a rule or something, that 3 or 2 days after this comes out, or that such and such things happen, Sprint Car Council comes in, gives us a nice little page and says, all right, here's our take on this. Here's what needs to be done. Like when Rico Avery wore his watch at Kokomo, 3 days later, like, I'm not kidding, 3 days later, I want to see something be like, here's either why this is fine or here's why no, can't happen. So, that's just me.
I agree with that 110% too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and just being open, like, you hear in the infield so much about, like, people being upset because this was talked about behind closed doors, or, this was dictated, the rules.
There's too much
whatever.
behind closed doors in sprint car racing. Not that that's a bad thing, but for something like this where it feels like the public should know, yes, need more of it.
Yep. So. Especially for a sport that's very open. otherwise. Like as far as access to drivers and everything after the races, like there's a balance there, and I think this is a good step in the right direction.
Yep. It's cool. I mean, I'm excited for what happens. I'm happy for John. I think John is a great choice, obviously, with his history with Knoxville and having representation of the biggest dirt track in the world or biggest dirt track in the country. It's like you might as well. But
I know we've heard that he's open to coming on here too, so that he's a person that I'd like to talk to, not only just about Knoxville specifically, you know, with Knoxville Nights and everything, but also talking about this, you know, give it a little while. And I'm, you know, what they say, they're meeting every month, I think is what I saw. So be curious, you know, in a few months to see how things are going, you know, what's being discussed, if they're willing to talk about that in the open. And so, yeah, keep pushing for safety. We gotta keep our stars safe, so that way they can keep putting on the shows.
I think that does it for our news topic. The only other piece of news I had, it just came out, it was breaking news before we went on air. Ryan Timms does have Knoxville Nationals diecast available.
That is true. Looks sweet.
I think I should get one for free because I was the one that put the idea out there in the universe. Just saying, Ryan. It's cool. I'm happy for him. That's it's cool for Ryan. We now have we have a Shane Liebig diecast, which is just crazy. Like, I just think that is so cool that scheme is now commemorative and people will have it for as long as time. And I just think that's really cool. I'm happy for Ryan. It's right now up for pre-order on his website. They don't say how many are being made. It's just a limited quantity, so who knows, but go out and get it.
Once they're gone, they're gone.
Yeah. But I'm happy for Ryan, and I just thought I'd throw that in there. I thought that was pretty cool.
Gonna have to add it to that little collection back there, Blake. We're gonna see number 10 back there soon.
Keep moving along. All right. Well, it's time to talk about Kade, aka Kade's gonna talk about himself for a little bit, but
he's gonna love it.
He is gonna love it
so much.
Because we're not gonna let Kade talk by himself for 45 minutes or however long it takes. How do you want to go about this? Because
let's just dive right in. Zach had a great question. I think that pretty much was going to be our first question anyway. Why did you start racing, and how or who did get you involved in this lovely sport?
Why I started racing and what got me into it was my dad racing. I've loved it since the day I was born. My mom, there's the Josh Higday comment. I was waiting for that one. By the way, Snow, no, I'll never let him know that I think he's better than me. But that's an ongoing thing we have between us. But yeah, grew up absolutely loving it. Started racing a four-wheeler when I was 3 years old. I think I got my first go-kart when I was 9 or 10. And
just a few years ago.
Yeah, honestly. And there really wasn't that much racing around here like there is nowadays for go-karts. We pretty much had Newton on Saturday, which went against my dad racing. So I only raced like 2 or 3 times a year for a couple years. And then at 13, my dad was like, screw it, we're getting you a 305. And we went sprint car racing, and that's kind of been what we've done ever since. But what kept me in racing is beyond me. I must just be dumb with money and absolutely hate savings accounts because, it's super expensive.
It's a given. You got something, Josh?
Oh, I was just going to go kind of next up, talking about your dad. What all do you remember about his career and kind of growing up in Knoxville? Like you said, we're very similar in that regard, where Saturdays were spent at Knoxville Raceway growing up. What was that like, and what do you remember about it?
Oh, it was awesome. Back when he was racing, you either loved my dad or you hated him. There was no in between. There was no like mediocre Josh Higday fan. It was one way or the other. And then I got to grow up with the Anderson family. Johnny, I see him commenting over here. I vividly remember, and I was not very old at the time, my dad would win a race, and he would get so pissed at me because Johnny used to have a big 7A flag. I think he still has it, actually.
Oh, yeah.
And I would go running up and down the pit lane with Johnny's flag, and I'd go by my dad's pit and be like, yeah, Johnny's better. He should have won. But, yeah, obviously he had a super successful career, and he really, like, jump-started me into my career. And He's a huge help.
For sure. I remember John. You talk about Johnny. I remember old Lightning. He would get around there too. It was fun watching those guys back in the day.
They used to have their duels because my dad used to love ripping the lip, and Johnny was so damn good at running the bottom that like they just couldn't get away from each other, just on opposite ends of the racetrack. It was awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
First time you were in a sprint car. What was the first lap like?
Honestly, like my dad talked a lot about what it should feel like and what's going to happen. Like if you let out of the gas, it's going to drive straight towards the fence. And he wasn't joking. I tried. But
There was no iRacing back in the day to try.
no. In the
Was
first
it a pro
race,
sprint? Pro sprint or 360? Your first lap?
it was an open 305,
Okay.
which basically was
Lawnmower.
no.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding. Jeez. Jeez.
No. The one that I had, we bought it for super cheap, and it was old and shouldn't have even been racing, but
Not street legal.
no. But the first, I'll never forget it. The first lap of the heat race, I drive into turn 1 at Allison Speedway. It's a NASCAR dirt track. They don't even race sprint cars there anymore because it's way too dangerous. But first lap, first corner, there's 2 guys in front of me that bang wheels, and I'm like, oh shit, here we go. They start flipping their asses off. There's a third guy that gets into it, and I'm just like, I started at the back because it was obviously my first race, and I will never
race anymore.
I will never forget the panic that I had. Just like, God, I don't want my first lap of a heat race to be like this. But my dad and my mom especially, she was obviously shitting razor blades. But they always say like, we knew from that point when you didn't drive into those crashing cars that you were going to be fine.
Fair enough.
You have crashed.
Plenty.
A couple of times, maybe more than I can count on my hand. What are some injuries that you've had?
In 2016, I ripped my ankle apart.
Yep.
We're not sharing those pictures. You have
No, they're
shown
gross.
us, and
I have
those are pretty
seen them,
gross.
yeah.
They're
Cool.
really gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, blew an engine up getting into turn 3 at Knoxville. It had rained that night. It was the night one of the lights went out on the racetrack, and I said after that I will never race again when one or multiple lights go out. But yeah, blew up getting into 3, and it drove straight in the fence and knocked the driveline out of it. Well, when I got back into the fence, it took my foot with the torque tube and shoved my throttle pedal, like the pull-up bar. It shoved it through my ankle.
Can confirm it did do that.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, it was nasty. But the scariest thing was, like, on the way to the hospital, they're like flushing it out and looking at it with a flashlight, and they're like, oh my God, you shattered your ankle, because there was like bone fragment that had chipped off from it bouncing around on that post so much. And then like they got looking at it and they were like, that's really close to your Achilles. You might have hit it. And I'm like, I sure hope not. But we got to the ER in Knoxville, and they got looking at it, and they were just like, yep, it's just a cut, nothing
Did you
major.
mean your artery or did you mean Achilles?
Achilles.
Okay, yeah.
But then they said that it missed my artery by
That's what I was thinking. Yeah,
under
yeah.
a quarter of an inch, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh boy.
Not good.
Which mean that's never. You mean you would never think of that, like
I
ever
don't think of that
happen.
ever when you get
No.
a bone or something.
Yeah. I still think the nastiest part of that whole thing was they like numbed up where the hole was. And to check if it was numb or not, the lady was just smacking it with the needle. And I was like, this is gross, but I can't feel it.
Sensitive content warning to anybody.
Yeah, no doubt.
Jeez, my goodness.
Do you remember trying to sneak your wings under Allison Speedway?
Get your high wings under what?
Wondered if there's like a fence or something. I don't know. It's a long time ago, Kate. You're getting old.
It was
so,
a long time ago. I
yeah.
am getting old for sure.
Kind of still sticking on the safety topic and everything. You've also had a couple nasty crashes with concussions that have kind of taken you out. You had a little bit of a hiatus after one of them, I believe, right? So, I know that is something that you're very on it about now. Did any of those crashes change the way you look at racing or the way that you race on the track? Honestly,
Like 100% no, but I'm not gonna say that like if I'm running 15th, I'm not gonna slide a guy for life like I would for the lead. Just little things like that, but overall, not really. I mean, I still race 110% effort, and we put way too much money and time into this stuff to not drive hard.
I I hope this doesn't sound blunt, but are you worried about CTE? No. I just didn't know,
I'm not. I'm sure my wife is.
yeah, the people you got to live with. I just didn't know, you see these NFL stars get hit so many times, and then once they get older, for them, 40s, 50s, you can really tell who kept care of themselves and who didn't. And they see a mental decline of large proportions. Yeah. I just didn't know if that was anything that ever pops up in your mind, but
I'm with your sister, Kade. It is definitely something that needs talked about. I mentioned that last week with Toby. I really, really feel like that's kind of a black hole in sprint car racing, that nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to deal with it because it probably is a much bigger problem. Not necessarily CTE. I mean, it's correlated to it, but like head injuries, concussions, because it's like, I got to, race tomorrow, but we're racing Tuesday. I'm racing Friday, Saturday, maybe Monday. And it's just like, man, in the long run, I just wonder what we're doing, because we do know more about it, and with the safety or sprint council and all that stuff. I just hope that that's something that is also being considered for the sake of everybody involved.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing about like my close surrounding people. Like my wife is very good at it. She can tell if I've even halfway rung my bell or not, and she's like, "Yeah, we got to keep an eye on this." And she's taken several ER trips with me, unfortunately, but I feel like having a support group like that, that's not just fully invested in, okay, you crashed tonight, let's go race tomorrow, and like just kind of going with emotions. I feel like that's a bigger thing than like a lot of people realize. That's huge to have, and I'm fortunate to have a lot of people around me like that.
Yeah, because enabling is the worst thing that you can do in that situation. Like if you need to heal, you need to heal, and that is that.
Speaking of Maggie, your wife, how did you two meet? She was obviously a racer growing up with the Levitt family and whatnot.
I wish we had the pictures. She was showing us, I think,
yeah, I know.
360 Nationals.
That's all I'm thinking of right now is the pictures of her in her car. I always thought that was really cool. How'd you two meet? And then everybody always immediately after your wreck with Ryan earlier this year, Tony turns to me and says, "Boy, Christmas might be rough." I mean, everyone knows that connection. What your thoughts on that whole thing, and how you and Maggie met?
Maggie and I actually met at a best Christmas ever wrapping party at the Hall of Fame. Wow. Oddly enough, of all places we could have met. As far as the deal with Ryan, I was salty about it for a couple of days. I'm not gonna lie.
Maybe a couple weeks. I don't know.
Yeah, I was a little salty about it, but like the more I watched it, the more I realized that it obviously, and I knew right off the get go it wasn't ever intentional. But still, like having to live with that Sunday, and I'm tearing a race car apart, and I'm just like, shit, dude. If it was anybody else, it wouldn't be as big of a deal. But then I got people calling me all day long, and everybody's like, "Well, what are you gonna do?" And I'm like, "Nothing. It's family, dude. You don't mess with that."
I'm trying to think. Was that your first run-in on track together?
Yes, it was.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, and
I mean, that just it feels like there could be more, but
yeah, I mean, you're racing every week in the same class, so I mean, it's a good thing that hasn't happened yet, or had not happened yet. Yeah, it's just interesting because I don't think you've ever raced, or you never had any issues with your dad on track. That would be a fun one to watch. We'd be whipping the cameras out for that.
I'm not kidding. Like, I don't know. Maybe I just didn't put the two and two. I have no idea. I did not know your dad was the one that was involved with the wreck with Tony Stewart. I just never put that together.
Yeah, that was one of the scariest nights of my life.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, explain that.
That was actually
Zadowski.
Yeah, and he had given me that race car. That was one of the first years that I started racing.
Mm-hmm. It was 2013.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the first year I started racing. and he wanted to go because it was a 360 show that year. The front row challenge was, so he wanted to go. We went, and obviously I was crewing for him, but we were sitting there watching, and like you could see the left rear tire was going down. It goes down. He obviously not on purpose. Nobody does that shit on purpose, but he hit the infield tire because the tire was flat. Like how it didn't blow out, I have no idea. But then he's just sitting there, and the green lights are still on, and I'm kind of like looking around, and I'm like, are they ever gonna turn the yellow lights on? And there was a big cloud of like dust from hitting that tire. And next thing you know, like I just see Tony start flipping, and my dad starts flipping, and I was like, car standing still, car wide open. That could not be good.
Where did he hit him?
Where he should have hit him was directly in the cage, and he would have killed him.
That's what I was thinking.
But Tony saw him at the last possible second through the dust, hit the brakes, turned left, and literally like it destroyed the engine. He hit him so hard. But if he would have hit him 4 inches back where he was gonna hit him to begin with, it would have killed him plain as day.
So, did your dad sustain any injuries from that?
No.
That is crazy. I mean, realistically, you think about it. Tony hit the car that was standing still.
Yeah.
And he broke both of his legs. But,
yeah.
Gosh.
But he only broke his legs because he turned to not kill him.
Yes.
And that was what a lot of people didn't understand about that. Like when it happened.
Well, there was no video. Like there was,
Yeah.
there might be a grandstand video that's in low quality, but there was no.
Yeah, very
it was just
low quality.
Tony. It was just Tony Stewart broke his legs, got hurt at Oskaloosa. So it's like,
Yeah.
Crazy.
Sister does not agree that it would be entertaining to watch you guys. Probably best.
There would be shit flying everywhere. I'll promise you that. The worst part is, like, if him and I ever got in like a slide job battle, I know neither one of us are gonna lift because
It's gonna be bad.
can't.
Yeah.
2026. I'll start with 2026, and then we can talk about future. 2026. This is not our Knoxville preview for the 2026 season. We will do that in March. But we were talking about it off air. The 360 field is very up in question right now. Like, we don't really know who's going to fully run. You know, we kind of have a vague idea, but, you know, as
Stu, come on.
Feel like it could be a top-heavy field. It could be a deep field. We're not really sure. But as of this moment, based off what you have cooking for 2026 and what you feel, the confidence coming off the win on the last week of the season, I'll just start with this. Can you run top 5 in points this year? Do you think you can run top 5 in points this year?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially like we kind of said it all year long. You just got to get the consistency down, and we got back. Not even just the last weekend, but the last couple weeks of racing at Knoxville, we kind of got back to qualifying better and just not changing completely everything on the race car at once. And then that last night, like we found our baseline that we had before, qualified good, and then we didn't really mess with it too much. And I feel like, I honestly feel like a lot of it was the dirt kind of changed from sitting over the winter that they put on last year. It was kind of a fresh start, and that really threw us for a loop. Like, we looked like we didn't know what the hell we were doing. It looked like it was the first
I
year
don't think
we
a lot
owned
of
a race
people
car.
really did that
Well,
first 3 weeks.
What
Yeah.
were you struggling with?
I just had no grip. Like, anytime, no matter what I did, like everything that I knew to do, everything my dad knew to do, we just fought grip. And I won't give away what we did to fix it, but it was pretty simple.
Maybe we'll put that behind a paywall or
Put some
something.
traction
There you go.
control on the car. And it just really worked well.
The Bluetooth signal got way stronger. It was the damnedest thing.
Ridiculous. And then after 2026, yeah, Alan's got a good point.
Alan's got
Yeah.
a very valid point. He's seen me on some rough Sunday mornings, and I'm like, dude, I'm ready to just sell all this shit and give up.
Oh, man.
And then just future ambitions. Obviously, we'd love to see you keep running at Knoxville, but obviously, some people just want to move on. And
Quick,
move to bigger
hey, I
things.
got another
sorry,
2026,
geez.
another 2026 thing. If obviously a lot of this is funding, like, you know, you don't do this full time, so you got to have funding to, you know, make any traveling or anything like that. Would you like to hit up any of the ASCS Midwest region races?
I would love to, but we're like, my race team's limited to one engine, so it's kind of hard. like Knoxville's hard enough on it the way it is, and I'd
Yeah.
feel pretty silly going to blow it up at some other racetrack when we're trying to run for points here. So that weighs very heavily on my decision to pretty much just run Knoxville, and then usually we'll go run 1 or 2 shows. This year we didn't. I mean, when you go win the last night at Knoxville, you park the thing and take it to next year.
So what you're saying is, somebody's got a ASCS 360 that's just laying around. Get in touch and
we
make
do some
something
traveling
happen.
then.
There we go. I like it. Get a hold of this guy.
And then Outlaws. Is that where you want to be eventually?
Honestly, I don't really care which national tour it is.
Well,
just to say
okay.
you
Look at
race.
this. Look at this
I mean, I
politics.
just meant
Playing
in
politics, not pissing
general.
anybody off.
Yeah, I just meant in general. Like, I hate, like, nowadays I have to ask that. You want to be a high limit or outlaw? Like, it's like, I just mean, do you want to race?
And why do you hate the other?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, obviously everybody wants to race. Everybody that races wants to race full time and make a living out of it. I wouldn't be that mad leaving my job to go drive a race car every day. I'll promise you that.
Yeah. But, like, for goals, you don't seem like someone that just, like, at the beginning of the season puts a bunch of goals on a board, like say, hey. But, like, stepping stones. You technically are a 360 shootout winner, but I'm sure you'd love to have that one. And then I think the 360 Knoxville Nationals is obtainable. I mean, I know obviously the field size gets stronger every year, but I feel like those are reasonable goals that a team of your stature that you have right now at Knoxville, obviously winning a championship as well.
Yeah, that's the cool thing. Like, we've shown a lot of times in not this past year, but the year before, especially, like, we didn't start off that strong, and we came out at like the perfect time of the year and just started swinging. And I mean, there's a lot of teams that are like that can do that. It's just everything has to line up right, and you can't have bad nights like we did.
Yeah.
So what makes it? I know there's a lot of history there, family wise and stuff. But what makes Knoxville the thing that keeps you coming back? I know you had told me,
across the street.
yeah,
Yeah,
a
for sure.
quick trip, quarter of a block.
Might as well just go across the street.
Because I know you were frustrated at times last year, and I know you weren't serious or fully serious about what you were saying earlier about, I'm just going to sell this shit and be done. I know that's not what you're going to do. So when you're struggling and things are down, what keeps you going back to that place?
It's honestly, like, it's hard to put into words, but when you win at Knoxville, there's nothing else in the world that matters for that whole, like, next 12 hours. Nothing else matters. Everything's perfect in the world as far as and that, I feel like that has to be what keeps everybody coming back. And I've won races at other racetracks, and it's just not the same. Like, the crowd hype you get when you come back into the pit area, and especially all the other drivers there. Like, when you win a race, everybody else is pumped for you too. So that always makes me feel like I'm kind of doing something right. if that's the way to say that, like, it always makes you feel good.
That kind of leads us into a couple different questions that we had, and I think we might end up accidentally covering your face here, so you might need to sit up a little bit more. One of your fellow competitor at Knoxville, Cody Hildreth, asked a few different questions, so we'll actually start at the bottom, kind of touching on what you were just saying there. It is no secret that the KHR team is very much competitive for the last trailer out of the infield. I can attest firsthand experience. It's very competitive. Explain how, like, you personally, and just how you're willing to talk to anybody. Sometimes it doesn't always come through on here. You're a little quiet on here, Kade, sometimes. How is that where does that come from? And how have you seen that kind of grow your fan base? Because I've noticed it.
Where it comes from, I have no idea, because my dad can be an asshole and my mom can be the same way. But I feel like I always make it a very valid point to talk to everybody that comes down to our pit area. I feel like that's huge in racing, and not a lot of people do that, and that's kind of where you start losing your fan base. But Matt Morrow is my nemesis, man. That guy, we will sit there and drink beer until the sun comes up, and I'm just dumb enough to keep going back, because he washes his race car right at the racetrack, and Yeah, it's always way too many beers and way too many hours we spend down there after the races.
Between him and like the Garners, it feels like they're
Mhm.
they're in there pretty late too. It's a lot of fun. That's a time tested tradition because my grandpa has talked about how guys back in the day, you got Chris Wallraven and all those people that were 4, 5, 6 in the morning after a full day and night of racing. We just can't get enough of that damn place.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Cody asked, well, he's got a couple questions. So
Got a couple more.
Keep going. I think this is kind of for all of us. What do you guys feel like Knoxville can improve on facilities and program wise? I'll just do facilities because I work for the track. I think Knoxville runs a great show. There are things that I wish could change program wise, but I will say I think our influence sure does help. I mean, that redraw, that was. I feel like we had a nice little say in that we wanted to be able to see the redraw and watch it happen. And now Thinking Inc. is now part of that. For facilities, I think you two would both agree the infield just has to be redone. I think the concession stands, the bathrooms just need to be torn down and built again. I just feel like, I don't know, we have the most people in the infield pretty much out of anyone. Maybe Lincoln has a little bit more when they do their big Gettysburg showdown, and then, depending on what Eldora does. But, boy, we have so many people in the infield at one point. I just feel like the bathrooms, concessions definitely could be better, and I think we need a media center. I mean, it's kind of inconvenient that the media center is out off the back stretch or off the front stretch behind the grandstands. There's no easy way to get back in and forth or back out of the track and in. And then just to finally wrap it up, I think we need some sort of a tunnel of some sort to get in and out without having to wait on the gate and whatnot. I just think that would be really big. There are nights where Tony and I will be in the booth and we're like, oh my gosh, what are we waiting on? There's so many people coming in and out. And it does. It slows down the show. So bathrooms, concessions, media center, and I think a tunnel would be really cool.
A pedestrian tunnel? Is that specifically?
Yeah.
Because I don't see, I'm no architect, but I don't know how you would.
Well, yeah, you ain't bringing haulers or anything.
Yeah.
Cars. No,
Well,
it'd just be. This ain't Daytona.
Hey, I'm just clarifying question here,
Well,
Blake. Okay.
Daytona will come up through the Jeez.
I'm with you there, though. A pedestrian tunnel would be very, very nice. Like that, then you can allow people to come and go as they please. And like you say, I fully agree with everything you said, including the fact that Knoxville's facilities, as they are some of the best in the country for dirt racing. And I don't want that to go unsaid. The media center thing is kind of that would be a very nice thing to have, especially in the infield, especially as content is becoming much more of a focus as it should be for the sport and the track.
For
it's
105-degree days, going to the media center where it's a little bit cool.
Yeah, for sure. And honestly, I know that there was a kind of an infield care center section down there too. Even having something like that separate.
It was in a cargo shipment container.
Yeah, and just improving that. Just in case for those bad crashes. I mean, nobody likes to see them, but they are going to happen again. And being the most prepared as possible.
There is a reason Daytona Internet, bringing up Daytona again. Daytona has the best infield medical facility because the worst wrecks happen at Daytona. Eldora and Knoxville should realistically have the best infield medical facilities because it's not far out of the realm that Knoxville has the worst track crashes.
Going very fast.
I just feel like that's always, yes, the hospital's right down the road, but still.
Yeah, it's just, to have those, I'm no medical expert either, so take this with a grain of salt, but like just having the equipment that you need to treat, insert whatever injury that can be treated there would be good. But otherwise, I think sometimes it can get a little crowded down the infield, especially during the big events. So maybe better ways of containing non-crew people that are down there. Kind of have two fenced up areas on both ends, but they're still open to the infield. So, kids to be able to have an open space that is still kind of fenced off from where stuff is happening, I think would be helpful. And also just sometimes you get people that are just wandering around that really don't realize where they're at and where they quickly end up in. We had somebody on a bike that was driving through the staging area, the scales, and almost got hit by Carrie earlier in the year. Like, we can't have that. So those are my thoughts also from your perspective as a driver, Kade. What do you think?
My biggest bitch, and I will die on this hill. Why do we not have some sort of mesh? Like they have it in houses everywhere. The sun blocking mesh. Why do we not have that at the entry of 3? So we're not wasting 30 to 40 minutes every night.
I'm curious if it'd be interesting to see it tried, just to see what it does.
It would
like
look
if it
very
even helps.
ugly. I can tell you that.
It would
but
look
at
very
that
ugly.
point, who cares?
Who cares?
Yeah.
There's
just put a
nothing
big-
over there that needs to see through it.
Branding, get impact signs on that thing and put some
put a banner
put some
there.
logos there.
Yeah.
Could just make, Texas Motor Speedway has the largest video board. Give Knoxville
There
a
you go.
bigger video board that just takes it over,
That's the last thing we need.
I will say, we were talking about the safety thing. I think Knoxville should have his own fire truck. You imagine like a Knoxville wrapped fire truck? That'd be really cool. And I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that, Knoxville of all tracks could use one. Because right now isn't it just it's a pickup. It's a pickup that has like the
It's well
foam
equipped,
or
but
whatnot. The foam in the back, which is great. But I don't know. I just feel like if a track's gonna have a fire truck, I feel like Knoxville should probably have one. But
That would be sweet.
This also just got me thinking too. All of this safety talk. I think that the National Sprint Car Council, that should be something that they work on, like minimum standards for racetracks for any national or regional or hell even any sprint car racing. You need to meet these minimum safety standards. And that is not non-negotiable.
yeah, that woman that almost burned alive in her car up in Washington or Oregon or whatever a couple of years ago.
Terrifying.
That happened because the track was not prepared, and that just can't happen. So, yeah.
And it's when bad shit like that happens, it sets the sport back way more than we can even fathom. And so with big players coming into the sport and a lot bigger spotlights starting to get shined on it, we need to be ready for anything that happened. And that council is, like I said, it's a very good step forward. We have to stay on it and make sure that people are then held accountable to, we're not just making some council to have it and be like, hey, we got this, make some meaningful change is the way I'm looking at it.
Another one from Cody. How do you feel sponsors, big and small, help local teams out like yourself?
It makes it happen, honestly.
You don't race without them.
No. And I was talking to somebody the other day, like what it takes to sponsor a race car. And I honestly told him, I was like, there's no dollar amount that's too small. Like there's a lot of people that think $500 isn't enough to get a name on a race car. And like some of the bigger teams, obviously they're not going to put a sticker on for that, but that's huge for us local teams. That's pit passes, that's fuel, that's
Tear-offs.
Yeah, tear-offs, part of tires. I mean, there's a lot of places that money can go, and I feel like a lot of people take that for granted. And a lot of the smaller, like local teams like mine, we obviously all know how huge that is for somebody that doesn't necessarily have a ton of money but wants to help out in any way they can.
Yeah, and that's why buying T-shirts, even talking to you after the races, and a little $100 handshake is always nice. Nice little surprise too.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
Like any little bit helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tanner
He said
Holmes
it
has said quarters when you're
Yeah.
going to wash
Car
your
wash
car.
quarters.
Like
Yeah.
quarters are the biggest. Like he has always said, he's like, man, when people come up to quarters with us, he's like, it's almost better than sponsorship.
And even like
they're
product
set.
product sponsors also. I know that's a big thing for national teams where you get lubricants or what have you, things that you're always going to consistently go through. People even picking up tabs for that, like anything big or small, reach out to our guy. You know where to get a hold of him. Kade Higday Racing, he's always open for business.
Always.
Favorite racing memory from Cody as well. Trent makes a good point about safety. Yes,
He
I agree
does.
with Trent. Favorite racing memory. Once Kate answers, Josh, I'm curious what yours is as well. I know it's not racing, or we weren't racing, but
Favorite racing memory.
while Kate's thinking, I saw this question. I was thinking about if I had to answer it myself, and it may sound way out there, but I was the biggest and still am the biggest race fan in my family. My parents like it, but it's definitely not as strong as it once was. Now, since I've started working at Knoxville, it's definitely picked back up. My dad told me this past week, he's like, when the season ended, he's like, we're sad. He's like, because we get so invested. My brother, my younger brother, who's a couple years younger than me, no interest in racing, not at all. And I'd say probably my favorite racing memory was, I think, whenever Donnie won it in the white paint scheme a couple years ago, the Nationals. I went to the Nationals, and for some reason, my brother came along. Usually it was just me that would always go, but for some reason, my brother came. And like the whole, through the early portions, I'm having to explain everything to him and be like, hey, you know, this is this guy, this is this guy. And I just remember when David Gravel and Donnie were battling late in the race, like we both wanted Donnie to win. We just did. And my brother was up like cheering and stuff like that. And I'm like, this guy's never watched in his life, but he was so invested in it. And I thought that was really cool. And then when Donnie won, you know, it was just a really fun moment. And people around us were really good. That's just Knoxville in general. And now he doesn't, it's not like he got into the sport or anything. He doesn't watch at all. But just for that moment, I was like, you know, this is pretty cool. But that just tells you Knoxville. I mean, I don't know how many times I've been at Knoxville and people are like, yeah, this is my first time here. I don't watch, but this is my first time here. And I'm like, you're going to like it. You might not watch any afterwards, but you sure are going to enjoy it after.
Going to have a hell of a time while you're there. And I can think of a couple. Like growing up, I was very lucky. I got to spend pretty much every weekend down there. My grandpa used to announce, and I think when he got, I was very little when it happened, but when my grandfather, Jack Herway, announced for many years at Knoxville Raceway, he got inducted into the Knoxville Raceway Hall of Fame. And I remember that was really cool. Like a cool moment getting recognized for all the hard work and everything that he put in down there. Like I have way too many stories. Like I'm sure you do from your dad racing too, Kade, down there. Like, the guy just his always and still, you know, he's still very passionate about Knoxville Raceway and stories about Cappy and Denny Wilson, Tim Trier, Tony Bachhoven, all the people that anybody that's been around Knoxville for a little bit, you probably have heard those guys on the mics or seen stuff from them. So that was really cool. And honestly, Kade, your win at the end of the season this year was badass. And because I had seen you guys go through the shit of this year. You know, your win at the 360 shootout last year was awesome. And then, you know, a few days later, it got ripped away from you from, you know, bad circumstances. So seeing you guys battle back and get the shit done again this year was really cool. So those are a couple of my very good memories out of way too many to count from that place that holds a special place in my heart right there. You got one now? You had enough time to think?
I don't have just one. That's the problem.
I feel you.
But definitely one of them that stands out to me, and it kind of piggybacks off your 360 shootout night. I get done hugging and kissing my wife, and I'm just getting pulled out of this crowd. And there's people absolutely everywhere. And I'm like, what the hell? This dude is just pulling me out by the back of my suit. I turn around. It's Craig Delansky. And I'm like, who the hell does that happen to? Like that doesn't happen.
No.
The other one that I can think of off the top of my head, obviously it's not like a specific moment, but that whole 2023 national stint between 360 nationals and having some pretty good highs there, and then blowing up in the B, like racing for a transfer halfway through the B. Then you have that ultimate low, and then we decided to race the 410 last minute and sold out of merch like twice, I'm pretty sure.
Awesome.
That was a super cool weekend, and I hope I get to do that much racing again here soon.
Last one from Cody, and then we might have to quick hit. We're going a little long for the Kade Higday podcast.
I thought we were going to be a short one, and geez, we're blowing through an hour.
go.
It's awesome.
What track do you miss most that's gone?
That's gone. I would have to say, for sure, the Iowa State Fairgrounds. I don't know how anybody that races around here could go against that. The surface wasn't the best, obviously, but just like the history of it, and it was a really cool shaped racetrack. It raced weird, definitely like a typical horse racing style track. It was fun to race.
Steve wants to know, should Knoxville go to a race saver package, assuming kind of like the pro sprint class, pretty much, kind of what they run at Houston's. Should Knoxville go to race savers, or are they not strong enough to go around Knoxville? Would it be a very boring show?
No, it would not be boring. Those things are just as equal. I mean, obviously you still have your standout ones that people spend a bunch of money on, but I feel like as a driver and a fan, yes, they should. as a driver of a different series, I don't think so, because they'd have so many damn race cars there that it would
Dude,
not
Houston's
even be
brings
funny.
55, like almost. Houston's had 45 plus every single night.
You almost couldn't do it. You almost couldn't have 3 at that point. I think
Yeah.
where they've landed is kind of perfect for what they're kind of looking for.
Yep.
Like looking for that 14 to 18 kind of helps with the track and stuff. Yeah. It would be awesome race fan wise, but I mean, shit, we'd have to unload every week because you'd have 100 some race cars there every night.
Yeah, it'd be insane. And like, if you talk to any of those guys about racing at Knoxville, and a lot of them have 360s, not all of them race Knoxville when they have the big shows, but you talk to any of those guys that race the Race Savers, they would absolutely kill to come to Knoxville and have a fighting chance.
So we
Maybe
need to
should
have
do,
a
like,
we need to have a
one-
big
Yeah, we just need one race.
big
Yep.
305 nationals or something like that.
One
That would
race,
be
and
awesome.
you would absolutely shit at the car count.
Race
would be
Saver
amazing.
Nationals, not at Eagle, but at Knoxville.
Yep. Just make it like Race Saver Nationals 2.0.
Oh,
Yep.
man. All right. Mike wants to know, how many people have you driven for in your career?
That's
I know
tough to
I know of
number
2
on.
between him and you.
Huh?
Didn't you race for Mike?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
there's
I've driven
2.
for
two.
Mike. I've driven for
Go for another Mike.
Yep. I've driven for 2 guys out of Nebraska. I got to be forgetting some somewhere. I've driven.
It's at least a handful.
Have
Yeah.
many been like one-offs? Just one race?
Mike's
you
are
ever
usually
done-
Mike Langs are usually one-offs. We go run a micro show somewhere, and we haven't ever haven't ever been able to get the sprint car stuff worked out. But
You almost did earlier this year, but I was disappointed.
Yeah,
Something happened. I forget.
yeah, it's like every time he calls me to run the sprint car, it's some badass racetrack, and I have something else already planned, and I'm like, shit.
I like how we have your sister here checking you.
Yeah, she knows all about it. Yeah, Tobin Smith and their family, we drove his car at Eagle, and then he actually gave me an engine to run at Jackson in 2020, and that season got cut short, and yeah, that was kind of the end of that deal.
Cool. Mike says, let's make it happen this year. There you go. Ben wants to know, who's your favorite photographer at Knoxville?
I see it says photographers, plural.
Oh,
Thank God, because I don't have a favorite one, to be brutally honest.
Yeah.
Ben does great work. Jared Buckley does great work. Nick Gray has been doing some really cool stuff. And then obviously, like, you can't go wrong with Dave Hill, Chuck Stowe, or when Tim Allen comes to town, you can't go wrong with him. Those are all just really good people that are really good to talk to. And yeah, Dave especially has helped me a ton with my photo stuff.
Zach wants to know, who is someone you look up to and why?
Obviously, my dad. I mean, he's taught me every single thing I know about race cars, and it's hard not to look up to that guy.
And then Kevin wants to know, what's your go-to ice cream order?
Oh, Ramey, damn it, dude.
He asked what the princess's order was, Blake.
All right.
Princess. So,
Sorry.
just a little backstory before I tell you what my favorite ice cream is. Me and his kid, Dylan, at the Race Saver Nationals, we always find the ice cream stand. Nobody else can find it. We always find it. Happiest people in the world. It's turned into a long-running joke of which one between me or Dylan eats more ice cream, and it's yeah. See, she knows about it. It's just nonstop. But lately, I've been on a Reese's peanut butter cup with chocolate ice cream kick.
Sounds good.
Speaking of which, neighbor Brad brought me some over last night. Thanks, Brad. Shit was bomb from Jersey Freeze. They had that one-off weekend. It's good stuff.
Man, I miss Jersey Freeze. Be
Should've
happy
had
when
it
it
this
opens
weekend.
back up.
Yeah.
That's. I saw this week. My birthday's on Friday, and the Culver's flavor of the day is Reese's. Reese's on my birthday. I'm
Oh,
like, well, it's meant to be. I was like, dang.
So you're almost a Christmas baby, huh?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Cutting it close.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
unfortunate, but it was funny because when I was growing up, we'd do my birthday like at the beginning of the month. We celebrated at the beginning of the month to try to separate it out, but yeah, kind of one of them things. But
Maybe you'll have a Ryan Timms diecast under the tree
dude,
this year.
Ryan Timms, be Santa Claus for me. That'd be cool.
Be Santa Claus.
Those things are shipping in January. That's pretty good considering like
It is.
Kyle Larson's shipped in August of this past year. I know Ryan said that they were having some difficulties. Like I think they were gonna try to do dirt on the car, but based off how Larson's looked, man, probably not a good idea. But still really cool. But we are going to be off for the holidays. We're gonna take a 2-week break. I know, very sad, but I will say we're going to have a lot to talk about when we come back. I know we're sprint car nights, but the Tulsa shootout will have happened. So there's going to be a lot to talk about with Tulsa, a lot of racing down under in Australia. I think we should definitely talk about that a lot. And then the hope is to get Wade on here soon before the Perth Classic and before everything else keeps running on. But
Also in brief discussions with a multi-time Chili Bowl champion to do a preview show of the Chili Bowl, working on details. So don't have anything fully set in stone yet, but that would be a very intriguing conversation to preview Chili Bowl. And I know we have talked about maybe doing some daily Chili Bowl recap stuff potentially. If you would like that, let us know, comment. I know that we're probably going to be watching it, so talking about it would be pretty fun.
Watch along of the finale. Now, granted,
that's
that
also
would be
possible.
taking place at 12:30 at night, but
Yeah. Hey, they were much better this
they
year.
were last year. Yeah,
We're all going to be watching it anyway. I don't know what you're worried about.
Yeah.
I think that'd be cool.
Blake will get up at 7 in the morning. He'll do it the entire time for the entire Saturday
I'll be here
alphabet
for
soup
alphabet
run.
soup.
Yep.
Like, hey, I will say
Hour
like,
14 and Blake's
especially
still
like
here.
because I will stay up for the Classic this year for Australia. Like, I'm gonna need somebody to talk with, or else it's gonna be slow rolling at 4 a.m. But we're getting close. There is racing, a lot of racing here on the horizon. And yeah, we hope everyone enjoys their Christmas break, no matter when you have it. I don't think there's going to be much snow left on the ground here in Iowa. It looks like it's probably all going to melt.
Okay.
So I hope you enjoyed the snow while you can. But yeah, it's going to be fun. We hope everybody has a good holiday, and we hope to see everyone here in 2026. Anything else you guys got before we wrap it up?
Just a big thank you for everybody that has supported us. It's been a wild ass year. I know that I wasn't quite sure what to expect, when we decided that we were going to jump in and do this year. And it's probably been the most fun thing that I've done in quite some time. So appreciate your guys' time. I know it's not always the easiest. We were doing it Sunday nights there for a while, and now jumping on Monday evenings. And Kade, you're busy doing racing stuff throughout the season and still did this. So the reception has been awesome. So I appreciate everybody that has watched or listened, shared, liked, whatever. It means a lot. It's been amazing. We were able to do a daily live show at the Knoxville Nationals at a place that I love very much, and an event that means the world to me. So my year was pretty awesome. I'm thankful for you guys, and I'm really looking forward to 2026 and what we're going to kick ass with next.
Yeah, going to be fun. It's going to
always
be
something.
fun. All right. Subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all our other platforms. Follow Team Netcode on all of our social media platforms. We're on all of them. Don't forget to check out Toby Belbowen's episode from last week. I saw it's doing really well. Great interview. Had a lot of fun with that one. Obviously, really important to listen to that as we get ready for the big Australian races, because he gives a little bit of insight on all that. Don't forget to follow Josh on social media at Josh_Gerlach, at Kade Higday, at Blake_Walker8. Plenty of different ways to chat.
We're everywhere.
So, yeah,
We are everywhere.
We are everywhere. That's all we got for now. Hope everyone has a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. We will see everyone in 2026. Thanks for watching Sprint Car Nights. Have a good one, everyone.